All right, we're back, everybody. We're back in the SilmFilm script discussion for Season 2, Episode 8. This is the episode with the Trial of Melkor. Real quick, before we get started, though, we do have an announcement. That being that Mythmoot is on its way. It will be taking place from June 1st to June 4th of next year. Registration is currently opening. And Marie, since you've been to Mythmoot, would you mind giving a synopsis?
Sure. So it's a conference, somewhat academic conference, somewhat fun conference, mostly focused on Tolkien, fantasy, sci-fi, anything that Signum is involved in, essentially. So there'll be people presenting academic papers there. There'll also be panels or discussions on things that are a little bit less academic. In the past, they've had talks about Lotro, because they had some people there. They've had musicians or artists. So I'm not sure exactly who all will be there. They've confirmed Michael Drought and Merlin Flieger, so the two of them will be there and giving presentations, I'm sure. But as for what else, we'll have to wait to see on the schedule. And I think the discounted price goes till the end of the year, till the end of December. So.
Okay. I have included a link in the comments section on the live stream. I also will be including links in the description down below. So if you're watching this on YouTube in the future, we'd love for you to check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. I plan on being there. I believe, Marie, you plan on being there.
I would hope to, yes.
Yeah. A number of people from the SilmFilm project will probably be there. We're going to have a great time.
Yeah, Corey Olsen doesn't have a choice. He has to be there.
Yeah, he's kind of the president of the university. It's kind of
he's got to show up. Yeah. But no, it's at a really nice conference center. It'll probably be great. So everyone should go.
Yes, I agree. I absolutely agree. Okay. And also, if you are watching this on YouTube in the future, feel free to like and share the videos if you want to if you like and want to share them and stuff. And if you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe so that you can hear me trip over myself even more. That's where it's at. So anyway,
you're not doing this by yourself.
At least I'm not doing it by myself this time. So let's talk about. Okay, we need to send Brian an invite here. Hang on.
Oh, is he lost?
He's stuck.
Can you do that, or do I?
I think I can do that. I'm going to add.
Okay, good.
I
think I have headphones.
So, but the important part of all this is that. There it is. The important part of all this is episode 8. So let's talk about this, because first and foremost, we need to figure out what needs to happen in this episode. Okay, so in the last episode, last time on Silmarillion, we had the the weddings of Finwë and Indus, Finwë to Indus, and Feanor to hang on a second, Brian, and Feanor to Nerdanel, and we started establishing Feanor as the great craftsman that he is. So, in this episode, we definitely need to see the trial of Melkor, for one. That being the biggest issue. What else do we need to see from the book?
Feanor needs to make the Palantiri.
Mm-hmm.
Does he do anything else?
Yeah, what else do we need to see from the book? The trial of Melkor is like one paragraph in the book. So
right.
The things with the third generation, all the grandchildren of Finwë,
yeah,
a lot of that needs to happen in this episode. Most of that's not from the published Silmarillion, it's from the extraneous other materials.
Okay. Is this the episode where we have? This isn't the episode where we have the Galadriel Feanor encounter, is it?
No, that's the next one with the Silmarils.
That's the one episode with the Silmarils. Okay. What else?
Yeah, so when I said the grandchildren, it's the older ones. So mostly the friendship between Mithras and Fingon, the establishing MacLeod as like the greatest harps player ever or greatest singer ever. He's mighty a singer. I don't know what his musical instrument skills are, but probably pretty good, right? He's MacLeod.
Yes.
So we have to do, we have to kind of sneak some of that stuff in. But yeah, just the older ones. We don't have to do anything with the younger kids yet.
Okay. So is Kellegorm and Juan
That's
in this? That's next episode.
They definitely suggested putting it in the next episode because then you could tie it in with the wanting to explore other lands, which is important for the next episode.
Okay.
It could fit in this one just as easily because we could focus on Arame's attitude towards Melkor, but that's not what they requested. So
right. Okay. All right. So in that case, I feel like we have a little bit of a problem, and we've discussed this on the boards at length.
We had more than a little bit of a problem with this episode.
So there are a few things that have been handed down to us. One being that the hosts do not want the trial to take up the entire episode, which I'm on board with.
Yes.
But despite my entreaties and my my quoting from the Silmarillion, Professor Olsen does not want the elves to be present at the trial.
Yes.
Which I have other issues with this besides the fact that it's a change from the book. I can live with it as just a change from the book. The issue,
because that portion of the book is very condensed in its format. So the fact that Melkor sees the children and forms these opinions and ideas is not something that needs to happen while he's sitting in the Hellcrox. In the whatever.
the Halls of Mandu.
Well, no, Ring of Doom.
Ring of Doom. Gotcha.
Yeah, Vahanaxar, I forget what I'm supposed to call it, but Ring of Doom. So it describes it as he sees the elves at that time in that place. So yes, but because we have a whole episode to work with, he's going to see the elves in Valinor, so we can certainly work that in another context. It doesn't have to be.
Right. The problem is a structural one. The problem is that if the conflict is the elves' reaction to Melkor, and we don't introduce, and the elves have no reaction to Melkor for the first half of the episode, we have no, we're not even touching the meat of the episode until halfway through.
Right. Which my solution to it is not one that the hosts seem to have taken up when they discussed it, and therefore not sure how valid it is. But the trial itself doesn't need to take up a lot of screen time. Trials are boring. It's people sitting in a circle passing judgment and talking. So we need to show Melkor in the Ring of Doom being judged by the Valar. Like that's an important image to show. Is Brian? Brian, are you talking or is it just?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Sorry, just it came up and then I didn't hear you, so I wasn't sure if you were trying to say something.
Nope.
But the easiest way to handle it is to switch quickly from trial to probation period, where he's allowed to wander around Valmar but no further, and he's got an ankle bracelet on and he's locked in. Because there's no reason they can't. Yeah, exactly. Einway's like, I got my eyes on you. Like, in the book that happens. There's one sentence that says Melkor wasn't allowed to leave Valmar, and the Valar are like, you're on a probationary period. But by the next sentence, he's, of course, finished his probation. Everybody's happy, and he now has free reign of Valinor.
Right.
So the hosts were like, yep, we have to go straight from trial to Melkor has convinced the Valar, and he's free to roam. And I'm like, but there's an easy solution here where we have an interim period where he's proving himself and interacting with elves. So what do you guys think of that?
Well,
probationary period as a transition between trial and Melkor is given the go-ahead.
I do think that that's going to be necessary. There's no there's no way around that.
Take Melkor at his word.
Right.
You know, oh, I'm good now, guys. Okay, go play with the elves. Like, what?
Right. At least he lets. At least, you know, letting him play around with the Vanyar, who are pretty solid. You know, isn't as big an issue as them letting him loose in the rest of Valinor. Yeah. As we're going to find out, chances are, if he had remained restricted to Valmar, all kinds of terrible things probably wouldn't have happened.
There would have been some damage control that the Valar could have done. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I personally think that we can get through the trial quickly, and then get elves back on screen and film of what happened to our elves.
I have an alternative solution, and I brought this up on the boards, but I don't know if you caught it.
Oh, so go for it.
I was actually talking to my father about this because I was really concerned as to what we were going to do with this, and just as kind of like a sounding board and whatnot. And as I'm telling him about it, all of a sudden I realized, what if Melkor is the protagonist of the episode?
Yeah.
And the conflict is him acquiring his probation and release.
I mean, it fits. The only issue is that his true motives are going to have to stay pretty darn hidden.
Yeah.
And if he's the protagonist...
Well, actually, I feel like that sells it better. If we're going to double down on this, no, seriously, Melkor's totally okay now, which is what's happening. I feel like this is a good opportunity to do this, because what we can do is we can start, because the problem with just tightening up the trial and letting that be like the intro, the teaser before we actually get into the meat of the episode, is that they also want to see the sentencing. Right.
Yes, the first trial.
Right.
Which, that is why it takes up more time, because if that's our teaser. Because they're like, oh, that's a great idea. We should totally do that flashback. And now I'm going to spend half the episode on a trial. And I'm just like, no, that defeated the whole purpose.
So what I'm suggesting here is that we show that, and then we show some shots. And I know that there's been kind of a moratorium on seeing the inside of Mandos. But if we show him, we don't have to show like anything around him, but we show his imprisonment in some way.
I don't buy that moratorium, just because I really don't think we're going to get to the Luthien scene and be like, oh no, we can't show that.
Yeah.
She's dead, so she's in Mandos.
Right.
Like, that's dead spirit. She doesn't go there a lot.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying, sparingly, we can use it sparingly, and I'm on board with doing that. But I think that if we get him, if we just get some shots of him, like the shots that you see of people in prison, of them, pacing the floor and doing push-ups and all that,
Perhaps he would be more of the sitting patiently, because in anime they're always kneeling in Seiza in their prison cells, just very stoic.
And then, it would actually not be a terrible idea to intercut the sentencing with these scenes.
If you're going to start doing time jumps, it helps to do everything in chronological order still. So to do sentencing, then time in Mandos, then,
Well, I'm talking about very, very quick.
Yeah. Right, but I'm just saying still, that quick thing should be where it belongs in the sequence, so it's not really confusing.
I don't think it would be.
It's my personal feel. But,
I don't think it would be too difficult depending on how you do voiceover, cutting back and forth between them.
Well, any voiceover would just be from the sentencing period.
Yeah.
Like we would.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I am comfortable with starting with the first opening of Melkor in jail.
Right.
So, like, we see him. And then the whole sentencing thing is a flashback in his head.
Right.
And then he's released.
Right. And
like if we do it in that order, I'm okay with it.
Okay. So if what I'm suggesting also is that we don't necessarily see him being released, just like
you hear a door
like
opening,
the light hit, right, and light hits his face, and
right, and like some chains jangling, and it's right. It's artsy. Somebody artsy can figure out how that transition works. But the point is,
and also of course he's chained up with the special chain too. With
yes. I'm terrible with names tonight. I don't know why I don't know the names of anything.
Why do we keep you around, Marie?
No, I'm so sorry. It begins with an A. It's the chain.
I'm perfectly comfortable just calling it the
problem I have with cutting to him in jail is I don't know. I can't think of a way to make him look contrite when he's in a cell by himself. I can make him look patient. I can make him look anxious. I can make him look angry, but I can't make him look contrite in a cell by himself. You know what I mean? So the problem with that is if we do use that if we can't make him look like he's really contemplating, like I'm going to, it's going to give away the fact that he's...
Well, unless...
or at least undercut it a little bit.
Unless if the sentencing takes place outside of Autumno, with if we go back to the carnage on the battlefield setting.
No. Well, we could. Yeah, the whole reason I had suggested going back was to show him in the Ring of Doom, because we haven't seen anything happen in the Ring of Doom yet. Right. But if we're going to immediately then go to his new trial in the Ring of Doom, we probably don't need to show both back to back. So it could be in the battlefield. Sorry, continue. I was just...
Well, like, if we see the destruction there, and if he looks like, and if he's remembering this, and he looks like if he's visibly upset by this memory, I think it can read as that he regrets it.
I imagine we want to keep it very ambiguous as to what his actual thoughts are at this point anyway. Yeah. So it's okay if we don't know. He's going to speak for himself during the trial to say what he thinks or what he thinks they want to hear.
Right.
So he'll have a chance to voice his opinions then.
Right. I mean, my standpoint is still that I'm not crazy about the idea of playing coy with Melkor's motives in this particular case. However, if this is the way that if this is the ruling, then we got to sell it. Right. So we got to figure out as much as we can we have to make him a sympathetic character again. Yeah.
I actually think having intercutting between the trial and flashbacks of the war. We could even do no sound scenes of him actually of action scenes, them fighting, and then having him kind of sitting in his little whatever it is.
And there's gotta be sad music.
We're allowed to have action scenes in this show? What?
And just
come on, Marie. Me and you planned out an entire huge epic battle.
Last season.
Yeah.
So yes, let's flash back to that because we don't get too many epic battles in this season.
Yeah, let's do that. So and then having him look troubled. I think his cell should be mostly just nothing. I don't think there should be walls. I don't think there should be. I mean, we can still do the door that is not there opening and then light streaming on his face and figure out what the actor wants to do with that.
You want him imprisoned in the arming room of the Matrix.
Exactly. Just a whole lot of nothing in every direction.
It's gonna be tough to do if it's dark.
I don't think so.
Well, the thing is, darkness tends to look very small, especially since darkness is usually filmed in a studio that is very small.
That's fine. I don't really care.
But he's in a jail cell. It's allowed to be small.
Well, a jail cell that is small but also infinite in every direction is like a very fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can definitely do something with that.
Yeah. I think that's a fun visual.
All right, let's take a quick break here because I didn't set my timer, and it just feels like the right time to do it. If you're watching this live, we'll be back in a minute or two. If you're watching this on YouTube in the future, definitely like and share the videos if you like and want to share them. And if you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe. We'll be back in a minute.